Hello, guys. Today I'm with a very interesting guest. Here is Tom Winter. Nice to meet you, Tom. And I'm Alexandra. I'm digital marketer at Collaborator.pro. And today we are gonna to discuss how you can boost your SEO game with AI usage for your daily tasks. Tom, as an expert in AI technologies, will share some insights and give you some practical tips which you can use for your daily routine task. And Tom, nice to meet you.
Hey, Alexandra. Thank you very much for the invite. I'm really happy to be here. From what you told me about this series, it will be really awesome to get all this feedback from all these experts. So really, really happy to be here.
Thank you. So, Tom, as I know, you are working at SEOwind, and you are one of co-founder of this tool, and you probably know a lot how AI technologies work. How you can describe your personal experience with AI usage in your daily tasks?
So basically, from my experience, I'm half a business person because I really love marketing, I love sales, but at the same time, I'm half a developer. So I know what comes, what kind of things are happening underneath, and I love to test out and break things. This is my personal way of working. I need to test out things. What are the limitations of, as an example, AI and SEO? And to see exactly what we can do. So I don't like to trust whatever I hear. If I hear something, I prefer to test it out. If I break something or go against Google rules, that's also cool because I learned something. And this is my approach to SEO. I've been in SEO for the last decade. And because I'm a half a programmer, I can also use it at scale. Use AI at scale and use combination of AI with Python. So I know a lot because I'm using it on daily basis, and I'm not using it from the front end perspective like ChatGPT directly, but rather through API just to see how it's working. And I've learned a lot in the last year. We're all learning.
How many tools did you try for the last year or 2 years?
I don't count. I definitely don't train my own models because, in my opinion, that doesn't make sense. I'm using AI as a logical engine, and I'm using different models. But I'm using mostly the standard ones.
I think it's a common mistake that people who are trying to use AI think that it's like a magic button which allows you to do a content from scratch or just generate a lot of articles. And I noticed that during last core updates, it's it's wasted time because there are a lot of websites which were de-indexed with last May update, and it was really really a common conversation in Twitter and LinkedIn between SEO experts about that. Not only AI generated content was decreased, but also high authority websites with real expertise and real experts, they were also decreasing. So I think it's unfair that quality content is also affected by Google penalties. So what do you think about it?
I wouldn't demonize AI content that much. Definitely a lot of AI content was de-indexed, but not because it was AI, because it was spam. Because when you're using AI as a search engine and you're just retrieving data from AI, so asking simple question, write me an outline for this and that, write me an article based on this outline, you get simple answers, based on the knowledge that AI has. And I would say it's not valuable content that you're producing. I also saw many de-indexed pages or actually de-indexed articles that were written by humans. And also, in my opinion, they were just spam. I actually liked the last content update really much because it removed a lot of spam from the internet. The first time, Google really did something to remove a lot of spam and create a lot of space on the market. For me, it's a blessing because I can see that we could grow in this space a lot. I haven't seen such growth in the last 10 years, maybe around 2010, 2012, when there were a lot of people were just using spammy backlinks. I was doing the same thing, I'll be honest. And it could work. So, and it did work, but we all knew that at some point Google will catch us because it was not according to Google rules. According to Google rules right now, Google has nothing against AI. They actually changed the rules from saying content created by people for people to content created for people. Like this
Yeah.
is in their rules. Uh,
Yeah.
if you write content that is valuable and has a lot of data and has authority, so it's EEAT, like basically you will grow. And I can see it a lot if you know how to use AI, but just don't use it as a search engine. Like it's like writing articles from top of your head. You can do it, but you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I use AI like an assistant or like a junior specialist because previously, for example, before AI started, I created some kinds of topics, some kind of task, and then I delegate to my junior assistant, and they created some kind of SEO routine tasks for me. But for now, I don't need them because I am fine with ChatGPT, like for brainstorming some ideas, but I cannot say that it creates good content from scratch. It helps me to create this content, but it helps me also to improve a little bit some kind of text. For example, if I'm updating some kind of article which is outdated, for now it's good to use ChatGPT for or because it has an access to internet, as I understand, right? Is it right? Yeah, and it
Yes
helps
and
me
no.
to.
I wouldn't.
What can you say about it? Because a lot of people saying
It
like
has access to the internet, but it can't scrape data. These are two different things. Like I would say it would go to some place, one place, but if you expect, for example, for ChatGPT to retrieve many pages, like and go there and scrape there, it will not work. Like really, it doesn't work like that. It will make up things like based on the slugs that you're giving, so the links that you're giving, it will make things up. It will define what you will find on the page based only on these couple of words that you put in the slag of the
mm,
URL.
okay.
So it doesn't work that good.
And what about plugins like Web Pilot? Because the Web Pilot is famous by his feature that Web Pilot can access to some kind of URLs which you can provide. So, is it good
Okay,
way to use it?
it is definitely good like to go or actually scrape the data like from different sources because then you're basing like the output of what you're doing on data. But just consider this, like scraping a content like from any page. Let's go with any page. Like the page loads about 4 seconds. If it's like 3 to 4 seconds, like this is when it's fast. So you have to go to this page. That means 4 seconds, only one page. Then scrape the content and retrieve the content, parse it in between. It takes, I would say, 10 to 15 seconds, the whole process. If you're
Okay.
getting an answer faster than that, that means it's not doing that.
Oh, wow. I didn't knew that. It's good to know. And so it's better, for example, to scrape a content in some kind of CSV file, for example, like top 10, and then I can import to ChatGPT and do my work. Is it better than just scraping via chat?
The problem with AI, especially with GPT, ChatGPT, is that it can read, like as Sam Altman said, like it can read up to 300 pages of context, but in my opinion, it can't read more than a half a page of instructions. So this is like a huge problem because like if you will put like a pile of text on ChatGPT and you just like scrape like 10 pages of content and put it to ChatGPT, it will not know what to do with that. It's the same like you would work with a human. If you put a pile of text like in front of a human and say like do something with that, that will probably not work. Or like it will bring back garbage and you will see like, oh, like but you didn't focus on the things that I told you to do. Like yes,
Mhm.
because you didn't specify exactly what to look at, like what kind of things do matter and so on. So it's a question when you're prompting, like how you can make the content that you're giving to AI digestible, something that it can understand what you mean. If you're just pouring data all over it, don't expect too much, I would say.
Yeah, I noticed that during the last news about Google leak documentation, people just started to upload the warehouse IP documentation in ChatGPT and just ask, "Hey, explain me this documentation as for SEOs." I think it doesn't work in this way.
You have to like mix two technologies together, like to do that. You have to use RAG plus ChatGPT or like any system that can work with RAG. RAG is retrieval-augmented generation. To simplify, it's kind of vectorizing the things that you're uploading to a vector database. So let's go with this documentation example. If you would upload, like use RAG, so retrieval augmented generation, and you would upload and change this specific content that was leaked from Google into vector database, you would have to think about a couple of other things, but I don't want to go technical into that. Then you would be able to retrieve certain vectors based on the things that you're asking. So it works very simple, like using GPT. This is one of the things that like most users don't use. You can use AI to create embeddings, so like create vectors out of text. And then when you have vectors of a couple of thousands of dimensions, you're able to compare everything with everything, and you know like how do they work with each other. So based on this vector database, I have like constellations that I can't even imagine because it's like a couple of thousands of dimensions. We know 2, 3, 4 dimensions, like time, up, down, back and forth. So like we don't work in so many dimensions, but like looking at thousands of dimensions, we're able to cluster things together. And then when we're using AI, we can ask AI, look into this database, look for certain things that look like this, or like I want to know more what it does, and then it will retrieve specific data from the vector database to retrieve certain data. Like that, we can create also like a SEO specialist, a special matter expert of our company. So for example, we can turn our page into a vector database, and then when writing like with AI, when we have specific topics, we can vectorize these specific topics and ask like, AI, can you find me, did we write about certain things, and can you retrieve me, like for example, we have specific data on that, like we have our original data that we compiled. Can you retrieve the data that I want from my website, but you need a vectorized database like of your website, and then you can pull the data from the special matter expert that is your basically website, right? Because there's
Right.
no easy way of retrieving the data from that.
I think for this it will be good to know a little bit Python just to automate the processes of your work.
For sure, it would be useful. You can actually try vectorized databases in GPTs, not ChatGPT, but GPTs. This is a
Mm.
different tool. This works in a similar way, like where OpenAI simplified the whole process. You can upload huge documents into GPTs, so it kind of like gives additional context to ChatGPT, and then using GPTs, you're able to pull data from it. So it actually can read this data and help you out to figure the things. So you wouldn't do it directly through ChatGPT, you would do it through GPTs.
Yeah, and for this reason, if you don't know Python, for example, you can use some kind of tools which are available on the market because they did this job before for you. So it's pretty good to use such kind of tools if you don't know Python or any other languages.
For sure, this is how like all AI chats work. Like, so they try to grab data from your perspective to actually understand and be this special matter expert, or a person that is a customer success manager in your company. But they know like what you have, like they know everything about your product, but they can talk to your customers using chat. Like this is exactly how it will work.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering that during AI increasing and last news about Google update, which was for 50 days already, SEO people are really a little bit depressed because the market of SEO jobs was decreased for first quarter. It was decreasing for 37%, and according to last case study of Macrack, they asked about 1,000 journalists if they use AI. So according to this poll, the journalists said they 28% only use AI for writing their articles, and about 30% are using 50-50. So, and we have at least 30 persons who didn't make their choice about AI in general, but I know that New York Times, Forbes, and other huge news websites, they already use AI, and they even provide information that the article was written by AI. And I see that their rankings are pretty well. So I think the most important part is, if you're using AI to generate some kind of articles for your authority and EAT, you should provide information that this content is generated. I think it will be better. But I think that the best option is to make like a mix of AI and human written content, because humans can provide more context. They can include some kind of storytelling and make it more interesting to readers. From my experience, never mind what kind of prompt do you use for writing article. Human can write a little bit better, but for sure, ChatGPT or Claude can help you with that. And also, I wanted to ask you about, what's your opinion about Claude?
It's definitely different. Like, so coming back to what you said, I'll come back to Claude also. Like, I definitely agree that like you have to use AI. Like in my opinion, you should use AI for what you're doing. Like me personally, I see in many places AI is far better than I am. Like I can't even try to compete in, for example, reading 20 pages of documents and summarizing them just to understand what's where and like how to collaborate between certain data. I'm not able to even compete. It will do it in 30 seconds. It will take me 2 days. And I don't think I will, even then, I will do the job at like a level that it will do. So, as you mentioned, this collaboration between humans and AI makes a lot of sense. In many things, AI is far better than us. Like in many things, we are superior to AI, at least at this point. I call it cyborg method. So basically, humans working with AI together, not against each other, like not taking over our jobs. But if you feel that you're an SEO expert and you will do the same things that you did 5 years ago, the market is changing. Like you have to change your approach. And if you don't do it, you will lose your job. That's my opinion. I'll be harsh here. You have to change your approach. And if you're thinking that you can live without AI, sorry to say that the genie is out of the bottle. Like it's there. You can't compete at this level in many things. Just think about how to be like a 5x person or 10x person. Because a few years back, like because I saw that there were 10x developers that we talked about like 3 years ago. Right now, there can be 10x anybody because you can simplify a lot of tasks and make them a lot better, increase the ROI on the tasks that you're doing, and focus on the things that matter. So what can you do better as a human? You have interactions with customers. You know more probably about your product. You have experience that AI doesn't. You talk to the customers all the time. You hear from them things. You hear things from your product team. So there's a lot of additional things. You have opinions, as you mentioned. AI probably doesn't have opinion, like, or maybe it does based on the things that it read and it was trained on. So combine these two. Like if we're talking about working with content, AI will be far better than you in nailing the search intent if you provide it with the right data. Don't expect it to find the data because it will not. It's lazy. It will not do additional calls to different pages just because it's money. Like every single time that you do additional call to somewhere, it costs the engine. Already AI, like working with AI, is costly from the perspective of their backend. So doing additional like 10 times more calls to scrape data and do a lot of scraping here and there, it's just cost. So it will not do it. It will prefer to actually make things up. It's pretty good with making things up. So what you can do, you can actually deliver the data in a digestible way, and then work with AI together. Like treat AI as your help, your right hand. I'm not. I wouldn't say that it's my intern. Like we are equals. Like, but with just different tasks. We're a team. Like sometimes AI tells me something, then I tell something to AI. We're combining the work that we're doing. We're working together in a team, and this way we can deliver better results. So this is how I see it.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
coming back to your question about Claude, so there are three main models that are on the market that are competing with each other. So there is ChatGPT 4.0 at the moment. There is Gemini 1.5 Pro, and there is Claude 3. I'm using mostly Claude 3 Opus. So, and they're a little bit different. When it comes to GPT, these are my opinions. How do they work and how do I define how they're different? When it comes to GPT, it's most flowery. It can do storytelling. You can mold it a little bit more, but because it's so creative, it sometimes makes things up. Like, but the language that they use, it's like very creative, and you can change the brand voice. You can push it to become like anybody, a goblin, like a fairy, whatever you will ask it to do, it will try to do it. Gemini 1.5 Pro, compared to that, it's very dry. When you see the text that it produced, it's very dry. But at the same time, it's very factual. Like it's based on data. Like it hallucinates a lot less. But at the same time, you can mold it a lot less. So you will not be able to push it to do a thing in a specific way because it knows better, I would say. But the wording is more concise. The sentence you will see like are shorter, and it's more educational or like very hard B2B language that it uses. And then you have Claude 3 Opus, which is a striking balance between these two. So it has like creativity at the same time, like it's more factual. What I can see from my perspective, I can push in much more instructions into Claude, and it actually listens to them. It doesn't listen to some of the things that I know what it doesn't listen to, but it's less creative than GPT. But at the same time, it can be molded more than Gemini. So for me, Claude like is kind of a go-to for most cases, and I prefer it than GPT for all. Also depends on the task.
I'm thinking about what you said about the quality of prompting and the SEO job market in general. And I understand that a lot of company for now start to lay off people in SEO departments, and
Mhm.
I think that in future the SEO will be a little bit more complicated.
First, coming back to the whole leak from Google, we don't know exactly what was leaked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hypotheses about like what it is, but it's just a warehouse of data, and we don't know even what it is used for in Google. So there are some things there. If it's ranking factors, I don't think so. That's my opinion. Do we know something from that? Like I think we haven't learned a lot from that. Like what was already a hypothesis in SEO, we can still go after these 200 ranking factors, or even I would simplify it, we can go after like two, three, four ranking factors that make the most sense. So create quality content that is made for humans. So something that you would like to read. This is the first one. Create authority. I would simplify it to go after like backlinks. Even if Google will say like, look, backlinks don't work. Looking at the leak, it was
They
there. It was like top three. there.
Yeah, agree.
I still believe, like I've seen many case studies, I've seen it on my side, referring domains, in my opinion, do work. And if they don't, like I don't have a job in SEO. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Uh, and like work on the user interface or like user interaction. So like the speed of the page. Even if core web vitals are not key ranking factors, Google looks at the behavior of people. And if your page loads slow, people will just like bounce off your page. Easy as
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I
uh,
can add that core web vitals are not ranking factors, but user experience is a part of core web vitals. So,
yeah,
and you
behavior, like basically user behavior. So what do they do when they go into your page? If your page loads 10 seconds, they leave. Uh, your rankings go down. Easy as that. Like they don't have to check your speed. If you can load your page in 30 seconds and you can keep your people on your page, like that's good for Google. In
yeah,
most cases, you can't.
yeah, people
Uh,
people became more impatient in this century, so we need to provide information fast and deliver our content fast and easy for people. So it's pretty
mhm.
simple. You don't need to know all core web vitals issues. The goal is pretty simple. Be fast, because we also know that Google also use Google Chrome for analyzing the user behavior. So it
That's also a huge discussion, and it will end up in court. Like we don't know exactly how it is, what they do.
yeah, but
But coming back to your question about like going to Fiverr, like employing experts, I'm not a big fan of like experts from Fiverr. Like I don't have anything against them, but whichever expert you will work with, like I have one recommendation: start with defining your goals. Like try to define where you're heading, write it down, and meet every, let's say, 2 weeks and check out like where you're heading, if you're getting to these goals. If not, then what's happening. Don't wait for a year to get any information about how you're doing. Work together with a person. If a person is like that you're working with is willing to share with you information, bad and good information. Sharing bad information is also good because at least you know this person is honest and it's saying out loud about things that are happening or about the problems. But define it, have a time frame of work. So let's assume like let's have a pilot 3 months. If we achieve this and that, we're going moving forward. If not, then we're moving away. Like if you define the KPIs of the whole work, you can work with anybody. Most of the people from Fiverr, they will not go with such approach just because they don't want to share the information that is not going well. Create content that is valuable, like to the end user, rich with value, rich with data. Create authority, and you're good.
yeah, agree. And also, I would like to discuss with you a hype about Perplexity. Yesterday, I was testing Perplexity pages, and I have analyzed that. First of all, the Perplexity pages started indexed, so you can create any kind of page in Perplexity, generate, improve it a little bit, and it can be indexed with a link to you. There are a lot of discussions about that Perplexity is our future Google, or that we are going to promote our content via Perplexity and optimize our content for Perplexity system. What do you think about Perplexity in general? How we can
Mhm.
use it for our SEO strategy?
Not sure if Perplexity is the future of Google, just because I don't see a business model that they can keep it up for a long time. I'm a power user of Perplexity. I have a pro plan that I'm paying every month. I love it. I really love it. But like at scale, like generally, I don't think people are willing to pay for such. That's so if they don't, they need to find a business model that will work out. So that means ads somehow. And then it will kill Perplexity because like it will not deliver the same value. But coming back to Perplexity itself, I really love it because it helps me out to search for certain things like at a large scale, and it will retrieve me data that is not hallucinations of AI. So it's kind of a mix of Google and AI. Like it thinks like AI, but it retrieves data that is actual data, factual data. So it will not make things up. Like to give you an example, I don't know if you like going to Reddit. In the last core update, Reddit blew up. Like really, you can find it in every second search result. Like it's Reddit is there. Like I think they, I don't know, 10x their organic traffic, which was already huge, and then like they blew up. But I'll be honest, from my side, I hate going to Reddit. I really hate it. I can't do it. Like when I'm looking at the thread, all these people talking to each other, I'm like getting lost. And
Mhm.
like if I go into the whole rabbit hole, like I stay there for an hour to get the information that I want, which is like a huge problem because like I should get it like that straight away. When I'm using Reddit from the Perplexity way, like through Perplexity. So I'm searching Reddit using Perplexity and I'm getting the information that I need straight away. This is an example. This is how you can do research at steroids. Like Perplexity will help you out with that. Do you have to learn it, how to do it? For sure. But as an example, going through Reddit, like it's far easier using Perplexity than using Reddit.
I'm using Reddit in my content strategy, but in a little bit different way. So I'm going in Ahrefs and type Reddit. Then I'm going to keywords and to filter, show me pages which Reddit is ranking from 1 to 10 position with this keyword. So then I just download in the list from Ahrefs and see the top performed pages on Reddit according to my topic. And then I'm going to ChatGPT and asking to analyze some kind of these pages. For example, just scrape the titles, or I can use Screaming Frog for this. But I'm doing it just to find some useful user intents which I can use in my content, just to improve it a little bit.
I have a hint, like to the first part of what you said. Instead of using Ahrefs, because it's a paid tool, you have a paid subscription that you have to use.
Yeah.
You can go straight into Google and type in site colon reddit.com and type in your
Oh,
keyword.
yeah.
And basically, you will get better results than from Ahrefs because like you're getting the results. Uh, you will see only Reddit pages who rank for this specific keyword. So you will know exactly what is the way of thinking of Google and not an estimation of what Google thinks from Ahrefs. So go to the source, like directly take the data from the source because like you're looking at Google. You want to know what Google thinks about Reddit, not Ahrefs, right?
Yeah, like this.
So
Like,
search it in Google, but like just site colon reddit.com, type in the keyword, and you'll be looking for Google. You'll be looking at Reddit, like that. I'm searching a lot of pages. If you want to search any page, I'm using Google for searching a page, like just like that. Site colon name
yeah,
of the
yeah.
page keyword.
It's also good to take, for example, some kind of your keywords and just add Reddit and title and scraped exactly pages which you would like to see. You can use also for this some kind of plugins which allow you for free to download the SERP for one page to
Mhm.
10 page. But
But if you will scrape Reddit, you have like a lot of gibberish. As I said, like when I go directly to Reddit, I can see like a whole thread. There's a lot of nonsense there. There's some sense. I would say 20% makes like the value, 80% is just gibberish and like noise.
yeah,
And this is my problem with Reddit. If you will scrape it, you will scrape 20% of value and 80% of noise. And then you're feeding it to AI and you expect AI to do something with it.
I can add that you can make some tricky stuff with Screaming Frog and use regex to export these pages, and for example how many upvotes on this thread, how many comments are on this thread, and then you can download a big spreadsheet and just analyze
Mhm.
and determine, for example, the most popular topics, and then check manually if it worth to be added in your AI tool for future analyzing. It will be better
So
than just scraping.
It will be definitely better, but this is exactly why I love AI, because like when looking at AI, I don't have to define the whole topic what I want. So when normal programming, like when you're looking at normal programming, like let's treat this case that you said like as a programming problem. You have to define, look for posts that have like highest upvotes. So I have to
Mhm.
think about an edge case. So these posts with highest upvote will give me the best results. If I use Perplexity for that, so I'm using AI, I don't have to define it. I want the knowledge. I want something that makes sense. I'm not defining how I want to search it. So the same goes with AI. AI is like so really amazing because I don't have to find all the edge cases if I'm resolving a certain problem. Like I can tell you, like, look, this is kind of an output that I want, and it tries to figure out what are the edge cases that it has to like take out and resolve, kind of. You can think about it like when, for example, in financial sector. So if you're looking for a fraud, like till the moment that AI came, looking for a fraud in financial sector was just defining all the cases that we know existed of how people tried to cheat. And
Mhm.
if you like define all the cases, you could find the same patterns in the future. Like using AI, you can find new things because you can say, like, look, this is the outcome. Look for things that don't match like a normal way of thinking. And you don't have to think about all edge cases. You don't have to think about like all new ways of cheating. So the same goes like with AI. This is why I love AI, because it's far easier to get to the output, whatever it is. Is it content? Is it like finding the best Reddit threads or whatever? Because you don't have to think about all the edge cases.
I also wanted to ask you some questions about the plugins for WordPress and to ask your personal opinion because I have tested a lot of plugins who say that we will generate high quality content in WordPress for a few minutes. I will not name that companies and plugins, but I want to share to discuss it with you because I have provided a few tests and I have purchased a few domains and just to try. I did a topical map, I did my keyword research, and then I purchased a few plugins who generated me content, table of contents, some graphics, images. It didn't work. So what do you think about it? I just noticed that they're using so simple prompts, so it's like it doesn't work in a good way because you need to spend a few hours more to edit it
Mhm.
again and again, and then you're going to ChatGPT or Claude, whatever you choose, and you do this work again, and you spend your money for API, you spending your money for subscriptions. So I understand that API doesn't cost a lot, but anyway, it's money and your time because
Mhm.
you expecting that you will spend a few minutes and then you spend a lot of hours because this content is not indexed, it doesn't work. So what the goal of using these plugins for WordPress?
Okay, so like it doesn't matter if you're using like this plugin in WordPress or you're having like an online system like a SaaS that you're logging in. It's a tool. But the problem with all AI writing tools that I see, it's there are two types of AI writing tools on the market. Like this is how I see it. 99% of tools are tools that use AI as a search engine. So they use AI in something that I call free float prompting. So they ask, as you mentioned, the simple thing like give me an outline, and based on the outline, write me an article. So they're using AI as a search engine. So they're trying to retrieve the data straight from the power and the knowledge of AI. But AI is kind of like a human. Like you went to the primary school, like, and most of you probably also did, and you've learned a lot of things. But if I ask you, like, about things that you've learned in the primary school, and I'm sure you did, will you give me all the information from that? Like, no,
Yes.
you probably forgot like at least 90% of the things, like from history, geography, biology, chemistry, physics, and so on. Like you forgot a lot of things. Like you will not be able, like we can do a test later. It will be fun. But like you can do it. Like, but what you've learned how to analyze things based on that. Like you are like a logical as a human. You are a logical engine, and you also have like a lot of knowledge that you've learned, but not all of the things that you saw in your life. AI is the same. It was trained, let's say, on the whole internet, but it doesn't mean it has the whole internet in one finger. So it has a logical power, not a search engine power. Like it can't retrieve, and that's why it hallucinates. So this is 90% of like the tools on the market. They use AI as a search engine, asking simple questions. But what you can do, like what we're doing, for example, as SEOwind, we're using AI in a different way. So first of all, we're mimicking as you would have an actual marketing team. So in a marketing team that builds content, you can have like an SEO expert, a data researcher, a content writer, an editor. So this is a team of agents, let's say. We can mimic that using AI. We can use different models with different objectives to work with together, getting different data to merge it all. Then we were talking about RAG, so retrieval augmented generation. So we can actually use a lot of data, which we can vectorize and retrieve it when AI writing or actually defining the task. So we're able to pick like from different places the tasks or the data that we want. So when we're AI writing, like and we're writing piece by piece, we're retrieving like a lot of data from like different SEO tools, different pages, different data, like from different places. And we're writing like this. So dear AI, right now I'm writing for this specific heading. So I'm like taking a part of the article. This is what my special matter expert said about it. This is what is the search intent because we took like additional data from here and there, and we know that this is what you should focus on. These are additional statistics and quotes for this specific part. This is your tone of voice, and these are additional things that you should know when writing like that. This is how we as humans would write it. We would research, we would read, we would pick things together, merge it all, and write. If we write from top of us or our heads, I'm an expert in coffee. Like I really love coffee. I can tell you a lot about coffee. But if I will write from top of my head like types of coffee, I will retrieve a lot of data that I remember, but I will forget a lot of data.
Mhm.
So I will know about Arabica, Robusta, like a coffee bean, but will I remember about Excelsa? Probably not, because I don't use it every day. So this is exactly how you can use data. And if the tool that is used for AI writing uses all of the data and compiles, like retrieves the data and gives it to AI in a digestible way, then it will bring back value. But that takes time. If something
Yeah.
is done within a minute, like really,
Yeah.
it's impossible, physically impossible to scrape and like do all these iterations. Like for us to write an article, like from scratch, from initial keyword to writing the article, we do at least 30 prompts, and we do a lot of additional stuff like underneath. Like it can't be done in 1 or 2 or 3 minutes.
I also want to ask your expert opinion on such difficult topic for me. For example, I'm doing a lot of backlink analysis. Like I'm really dig a lot, and I am uploading a lot of backlinks. Then I try to analyze their strategy from scratch. Like how many backlinks do they build per month? What is their
Mhm.
dynamic? What kind of backlinks do they build the most and on what kind of pages? So for previous, for example, I created a huge pivot table in my spreadsheets. Then I manually or with some kind of Google spreadsheet scripts, I can analyze the type of backlink. For example, is it guest post, news article, or forum? I can do it, and also I try to calculate the anchor distribution
Mhm.
for the website. And now, for example, I would like to do this with ChatGPT, but what I know, what I knew about it. So, for example, I have a big spreadsheet from Ahrefs with thousands of backlinks, and I'm asking ChatGPT, please calculate me the count of backlinks with domain rating from 55 to 75, for example, and it calculate me, but it's wrong. It's totally
Mhm.
wrong because when I manually check, I see that it can't calculate these files. So why? My personal hypothesis that ChatGPT calculating just the first 100 rows and, for example, the last 100 rows. But how does it work?
So it works a little bit different because like what it does, it tries to predict. Like it doesn't count. So if you
Ah,
see, let's say if you see 50 apples, like if you have 50 apples and you ask like AI, like count me the apples, it will predict looking at the space, what is the most probable number that it sees. It will not count one by one like you do. It tries to predict. And this is the biggest problem because like it will not tell you that it doesn't know. It will not tell you that it didn't do that. It will give you a number. Like how you can spot that it's predicting and not counting. Because if ChatGPT starts counting, it uses Python to that. Like so, it will actually fire up like a command like in Python, and it will count using Python.
mhm,
If you don't see it, that means it's a prediction, not
mhm,
counting. So that's why like you see a problem. Like I've seen it in many cases. So for example, in ChatGPT, I gave like to my children a text of 31 words, and I asked my children like, look, can you count the words? And like I have brilliant children, so like they were like spot on, like 31, right? But I gave the same thing to ChatGPT, like count me 31 words, like a paragraph of words. Like, come on, how hard it is. Like it's a one SMS of text.
mhm.
So it returned like 33. And it's like, you know what, ChatGPT, you're a little bit off, like two off. Like, can you count again? Like, so it did again. And it's like, okay,
Yeah,
it's 32. Like, really, right now, like, I have to be right. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
no, you're not. Like, when I like asked it again and again, it said like, oh, screw that. Like, let's go with Python. And then it counted correct.
Okay, so you can advise that, for example, if we are analyzing some kind of big data, we
Use,
can ask to use ChatGPT a Python and not to predict,
yeah,
but
use a
using.
script. Like, basically, use a script. Like, use a script to count it.
Okay, okay, good, good. Because I think it's a common mistake when people,
I
when
don't
anything.
promise like when it comes to easy things, it's easy, but you're talking about a table. Table is something like much harder because you have to take a column, specific column, like two columns actually, and count it. Like so, don't know what it will do, but
Yeah, and
definitely
I
try it.
have like 50 columns and thousands of rows, so it doesn't work in this way, right? Okay, thank you. And for now, I would like to discuss some questions which we have prepared and I have collected from our comments. So let's start. How can SEOs overcome the limitations of tools like ChatGPT when dealing with big data? Oh, I think we just answered this question. So yeah, just to underline.
One more thing that you have to like take into account, you can combine like a vector database or a database that it will use and retrieve data from it. So you can either use BigQuery, MongoDB, but then you have to be more technical to actually apply like the database and make it possible to use the data by AI.
What are the most accessible AI tools for beginners except the SEOwind tool? What
So
what
like
else?
definitely like depending on the task, like if you have a specific task, like use a tool that's specialized in this specific task. Like this is the easiest way of doing that. So for example, like in AI, like writing like SEOwind would actually do certain things. But if you just want to use AI as such and try to like try it, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT. Gemini is free. Claude is not free. GPT 4.0 is right now like limited but free. So use these three. Try it out.
Okay, so at least you need about $60 for AI tools which you can use on a daily basis, and Perplexity also,
I
right?
mean, yeah, and Perplexity. Like I think less because GPT 4.0 you can use it for free. Gemini 1.5 Pro you can or 1.5 you can use it for free. Claude, I don't know. Like you can use Playground and you can pay $5 and you're good. Perplexity, I think it's $15.
Okay, okay. No, 20. I recently bought
You're probably
Perplexity.
right.
how can I determine if the text is generated or human written without tools? It's interesting question. I can add to your answer that there was a great post. Unfortunately, I forgot the author, but he also shared a link to GitHub. And the post was about that from 2023 when ChatGPT was released to all people. In global search indexed, there was increased number of outdated verbs, terms which people do not use in their daily life in English. So I think it's a good point just to take a look at your content and to see these tricky words which are not common in daily usage. I think it's one of the markers which you can use to determine the content, especially if English is not your native language. But what else can we do?
So basically, I don't believe that AI detectors work. And if you feel that you can actually detect AI, that's, in my opinion, you're wrong. Like what we did a blind test using AI article and like articles written by humans. Because we loved the idea. I don't know if you remember the blind test between Pepsi and Coca-Cola.
Mhm,
And like people believe that they know, but when you test them out, then actually they saw that Fiverr like kind of content writer was the AI writer. Like from their perspective, it wasn't. Like it was a rather mediocre writer. We compared like three writers, like really good writer, AI with a human writer, but that was cheapest, and mediocre writer. And to be honest, the AI was actually the least AI from all three of them. But it was a blind test.
mhm,
So the second thing, if you believe AI detectors work, that means that the Bible and U.S. Constitution is written by AI.
mhm,
No, it's not. Like,
mhm.
so looking at this perspective, and also like there's a lot of research on by Stanford and a couple of other, it doesn't work. Even OpenAI ditched their project like of AI detector, and they did it quietly because they felt like, okay, with GPT-4 and above, not possible like to actually detect it and not to do false positive.
I think it's the GPT detectors tools. It's kind of myth because some people in company, for example, some kind of stakeholders, ask their team, be sure that our texts are human written, use these tools because we paid for subscription for it. But it doesn't work. If you are good at SEO in general and you're a smart guy like me, you can generate text, any kind of text, which GPT detector will not recognize at all. But it doesn't mean that it's AI. I can also add that, for example, I'm having big troubles when I'm, for example, ordering some kind of editing text on Upwork, and I am asking in my outline, please do not use AI tools to rewrite this text. But they use, and that's how I can check, for example, my own writers. For example, when they send you Google document, you can check the history of the document
Mhm.
and see
Yeah.
that they just copy paste the full text with, like, we have one point, then sub point, then sub point, and all letters are capitalized. It doesn't work because from the grammar point, when you use two dots in the end of sentence and you using some kind of number it or bullet listed, it you should write from small letter but not with uppercase letter. It's common for AI especially. And so you can use some kind of tricks that just to check your editors to understand that, yeah, probably it's
Yep.
generated. And I also noticed that when the content is generated, it's the structure is so, I don't know how to explain it, but I can see the pattern that there is introduction paragraph, then some kind of subheadings, and it's so structured. Like a real writer will improve it a
As I
little
said,
bit.
like we did a blind test and it didn't work like as, and everybody said like, I always like know which one is which one.
Uh,
It didn't work like that.
yeah,
Really.
yeah. Probably. Only if you have a lot of experience when you are writing content by your own, and
I
then
would
you
really love to see you doing our blind test. Like, go for it and tell me what was the answer that you chosen and check it out. Because really, Pepsi versus Coca-Cola blind test, it's the same thing. Everybody thinks that they can do it. It doesn't
no.
work this way. No.
Anyway, at least we can check the the Google Docs story of the
For
document
that,
and
like for sure, like if you can see
yeah.
that, like that's a pattern.
The next question. During the last confirmed and not confirmed updates, a lot of sites become de-indexed even if the content ranked well before and has good engagement. How to recover that pages? Did you faced with
Create
this
valuable
problem?
create valuable content. Like if you were de-indexed or removed from the internet, probably your content was weak, and it didn't bring value. So what you have to do, like you have to write something that is valuable. I like to do a mix of search intent and my own opinions, like do a mix of these two, then you can work with that.
Yeah, I can also can recommend people when you are distributing some kind of your content or building some kind of guest posts or backlinks. Please pay attention to content. What do you contribute to the websites? Because it's a common problem when uh, pe- people have pages of their guest posts which are de-indexed. But why? Because you just provide a little bit poor content when you are contributing to websites, and it's a common issue in big companies and agencies that, for example, you pay a lot of money to write good content on your own website, but when we are talking about distribution content, agencies or companies try to spend less money on that kind of content. But it's a huge mistake. It's a huge operational mistake, because when you're distributing your content, you also should take care about it, because it's also part of your EAT. So
Hmm.
it's, I think it's pretty easy answer. If your content or is de-indexed, probably it's about the poor content. You can just check it by yourself. Okay, the next question. What about the mixed content made on AI and expert? In your opinion, does such mix have right exist in the top of Google? Do
I
you
think
have
we've
some
mentioned it like a little bit earlier. So definitely, I call it cyborg method. So a human working with AI and combining our like superpowers together.
yeah, just to underline, I
That
would get this.
works. That definitely works.
Yeah, I agree. How Google documentation leak affected the content strategy? It's interesting question. We talk a little bit about Google leak, but what main summary can you make for to improve content strategy?
I would say it proved hypothesis of SEO experts that like still there's plenty of ranking factors that we go after. One of it like it's backlinks when it comes to authority. Authority is very very important in the new ranking factors that we have. But I don't think it changed a lot. Still, as I mentioned before, we don't know exactly what we see. We don't know what kind of documentation is it because there's no definition. Is it ranking factors or it's just a warehouse of data used for something else?
Thank you so much for this video. Let's underline our main points. AI is a good friend and assistant, but it's not a magic button, of course. And we recommend you to learn a little bit of basics of Python just to improve your own tasks. And go to SEOwind and try this tool. I hope it will help your content strategy as well. And thank you. Subscribe to Tom accounts on LinkedIn, and I wish you good luck and top ranking positions in Google. Thank you very much, and see you on the
Thank
next
you.
episode.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Alexandra, for like the invite. It was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you a lot. See you.
Cheers.
See you next. Bye.